Good afternoon and welcome to another panel here. I am delighted to have the PayProp team and a number of their, very happy clients. I think it would be a bit rich if they turned up and then said they didn't like it. That would be the height of rudeness. So I'm guessing we're going to see some real love and affection for your team here, Neil. How are you, first of all? Everything okay with you?
Yeah, everything's good. Obviously, we are coping with the changes that are hitting our industry on a daily basis. I feel we're being pillar to post with the different messages that come out regarding what we can do, what we can't do, whether we can actually take our tenants, deal with evictions, deal with move-ins. It's lovely.
Yeah. All right. Come on. Keep a smile. Yeah. We're in a positive place, aren't we? This is Kerfuffle. Well, Neil, I've been let into a little secret here as well. If you're not happy of this on all days, it is actually your birthday, isn't it? My little spies tell me. So I'm not going to lead the team in a happy birthday because, to be fair, it would destroy the internet. But congratulations and happy birthday to you anyway. I could just imagine you woke up in the morning and thought, what do I want for my birthday? The Kerfuffle webinar. That's what I want to be on. So
that's the present I need.
Great. Okay. Well, look, we're just going to talk through what this is all about. These panel shows are all about here. We've obviously had an introduction showcase from you, Neil, which is on your landing page on Kerfuffle. It's there for anyone to go see if they want to get a bit of background. But what we really like to do is get out and actually speak to the people, your clients, who are ultimately, enjoying the service and understand what made them choose the service and what they're getting from it now. So if it's okay with you guys, if you wouldn't mind just really just briefly introducing yourself and the company you're from, and then we'll jump into the questions. Rhiannon?
Yes, I'm Rhiannon from Lewis Horton Willesden in Cornwall. We joined PayProp in 2018. Best thing we ever did.
Well, we could just stop it there then. First of all, and I did say to you off camera, those are the best bins I've had on the show in weeks. So pretty exceptional. Then you've gone beyond Jerry Maguire there. That's brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant. Cheers, there. And Martine.
I'm Martine from Tatty Lettons in Nottingham. I think we must have joined right about the same time. It's 2018 time that we joined as well. Maybe 2017. Forgot, but again, it's made my life a lot easier.
Okay, in fact, well, God, we're really on a roll here. This is brilliant. And David, how are you?
Well, very well, thank you. I'm David Votter from Votter Sales and Lettings and Vice President of Arla Property Mark. I also, funnily enough, joined PayProp in October 2018.
Okay, well, first of all, for the Arla Property Mark thing, I'm plugging my forelock in respect. So I'm very deferential, so you'll get that over the course of it. And James, hi, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. I'm James from Harrison County Fleetwood. I joined PayProp last year, July 2019. So I've just done just over my first year.
With PayProp.
Yeah.
And you mentioned yourself, you're like one of these UN observers, Neil, aren't you? You're here, you're not going to get involved, you're just going to talk, and if any of them say anything out of turn, you're going to shove them digitally.
No. Let's not have anything. No, that's the point. The idea is that you ask them a few questions about what made them choose PayProp, because there's enough of us going out and selling it, and I suppose from a little point of view, I may be a little bit biased. So I'm not me, but I can't help it for some reason. But it's good to hear it from people who actually use the system.
Absolutely spot on, and you've actually teed it up for me perfect there in terms of the first question. Just to be clear again, obviously, I'm sure you're all going to be very good giving me elevator question or answers rather to my questions. If you do go on a little bit though, the Whaley Waffle one will come out, so please try and keep them as concise as you can do. It's always do as I say, not as I do, because I'm liable to go on for ages. But to stop that from the very beginning, Rhiannon, what I'd really love to understand is what first prompted you to look at PayProp when you said all those years ago, before it became the best thing in your life?
my director used to do all the banking through Lloyd's. She would go on holiday, and I would literally break down like the week before, thinking I've got to do the banking all of next week. Just the hassle of downloading, reconciliation, then paying out the landlords. I'd be sat here till 9 o'clock in the evening, making sure I got it right with no phones ringing. We manage 300 properties. We take between 700 to 1,000 payments a month. And now it's just done on a click of a button. I'm obsessed with it. I'm on there all the time, watching the monthly figure go up and up, the arrears list go down, and who's paid. So
there you go. Yeah. There you go. The value of the business just increasing. That's a lovely thing to do, isn't it? And as you said, they're just dealing with one of the nicest features of PayProp is that challenge when when the accountants or whatever goes on holiday and it's literally everything kind of all stops, isn't it? That obviously doesn't become an issue anymore when you've got these guys in your corner. So I can well imagine why that's so attractive. Martine, what about you?
Time saving, really. So I did all the accounts myself. So just this thought of going through HSBC bank statements these days to look at the payments that have come in, to put them on our back office system, to raise the statement to the landlord, to then pay it out back through HSBC. It's just a big hassle, to be fair. So now it's just click of the button. Like you say, it's reconciling, coming in, and then paying the landlords out by the end of the day. The contractor invoices and everything go on there simple. You've not got to keep separate, endless files. It's all in one place. You can access everything when you need. And it is a time-saving effort, to be fair. When we joined PayProp, I think it was in 2017, I think it was, actually. And we went to New York. And the managing director at the time was absolutely thrilled that I could take my mobile with me to keep paying those payments. So yeah, the payments were made from wherever I was, from your iPad to your laptop, your mobile, wherever you are, you can do them. It's really simple.
It's one of those things, isn't it, where we have it in like I'll always equate it back to my life now, where I can't believe how we ever used to do it. I mean, for me, it's things like Uber Eats and Deliveroo, but I bet you just can't imagine, can you, how different it was there, how convoluted it was, the lack of accessibility compared to what you've got now.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd take me a day to reconcile the payments, and with everything else that I'm doing as well, you just haven't got the time to do it. So really, it's a salary. So your accountant, you don't necessarily have to have, because you can do it yourself. Obviously, you just need to ensure that you've got somebody there to chase the arrears. But even with arrears, it's click of a button and they send a text message and an email out to the tenants. I can remember the sales guy used to come in all the time to see me, telling us how fantastic PayProp was. And it was like, oh, yeah, okay, Rhian, we'll speak to you another day. And eventually we took the plunge, and it did save us so much time. It was like, well, why didn't we do that before?
That's really interesting, that point, because one of the biggest challenges we see in the industry, with coming from my side, the supplier side, is I see a lot of great products out there. We kind of, from our side of the table, we know it's going to make your lives easier, but there's kind of an inertia, there's a nervousness about it, isn't it? And it is difficult, isn't it, having that confidence with something like, you can't just say, here's all our accounts, here's everything we work on day in, day out. Family jewels, as it were. So it does take that confidence, doesn't it, to be able to move to that. But I guess, just like everybody, when you make that, you think, why didn't we do this ages ago?
Yeah. It is a trust. It's a lot of the trust factor. You know that it's working well. Your landlords know what's happening. It's a change for the landlords as well, when you think the statements are going to be completely different to what the statements you use with your back office system to the ones on PayProp. It does take some getting used to. Of course, you do have landlords that don't like change, but once you explain everything to them and things settle down, then everything's absolutely fine. It was a godsend for us. It really was. It saved us so much time in the end, which was fantastic.
Perfect. David, how about you? You remember when and where the magic happened across the room and you saw PayProp and thought, this is for me?
Do you know what? It's cut a long story short. I was running an Isle of Property Mark regional meeting back in 2016, and I was working for a big independent company, and I had Martin, one of the reps, who I'm really close to now, we get on really well. He presented it, and I just thought, this platform is insanely good. Why isn't every company doing it? So I went back and I presented it to my employer, and like many estate and letting agents within the industry, I mean, I might be setting the cat amongst the pigeons. Oh, crikey, yeah, it's very expensive, and we've always done it this way, so we're not going to change our structure. And I said, well, you could, yeah, you might be paying out a lot and using the platform, but what you'll save back and the efficiency. Because what I hated, Simon, was I would do a fantastic job in winning the instruction. You know, it's dog eat dog out there. So I'd win the instruction, get the landlord on board. Then it would go over. Once we did a managed property, it would go to a centralized management center, and they couldn't manage to eat a packet of crisps, let alone manage a portfolio. And I'd get landlords coming to me going, David, I bought the service from you and your back end team can't even pay my rent on time or tell me if there's arrears, what's going on? So that was one thing. I got batted down straight away. And I knew that when I set the company up, and this isn't coincidental, by the way, my very first investment was PayProp. I had Martin over, came to my house. I said, Martin, talk me through this. I want to get it clear in my head. It was the first thing I set up. Then I got my property redress scheme, got my client accounting all in there, and it was seamless. And moving on, 2 years down the line, I've grown my portfolio from 0 to 100 in the space of 2 years. And I remember it was I think it was October 2018. So I'd launched, got PayProp on board, and within the space of 2 weeks, I'd had like 3 or 4 months setting my company up, working solidly 12 hours a day, 7 days a week to get everything built from the ground up. I thought I need a weekend away. So I went for a weekend away with a friend of mine, and I was like, crap, I've got landlords to pay. But I didn't worry, because I remember getting up in the morning, sitting on the veranda, having my morning coffee, and then I was right, log into PayProp, right, reconcile, approve, job done. Those landlords are paid. So you've got a thank you receipt to the tenant, you've got a statement to the landlord, and it's brilliant. It's seamless. And I think it was like Rhiannon said a minute ago, that sort of stuff takes hours. With PayProp, you know, it's seamless. It's minutes. And I like we said before, you know, how can you go back to life without it? And I think anyone who uses PayProp won't come away from it. It's the initial, get people to get that mindset to say, actually, this platform works really well, and the way that you can grow your business exponentially off the back of it. So I could go on for hours, but I realise we haven't got that. So
I'm sensing you're a fan, David. I'm not a language expert, but I'm getting that feedback. I think what's really interesting there that you talk about it though, and it's a classic case, isn't it? You can be the rock star at winning the listings, but if any part of your proposition afterwards let you down, that's what ultimately you're judged on, isn't it? So and although, you know, on the face of it, it's not the most exciting bit, it's a bit like compliance and everything else. It's not a nice to have, it's a must have when dealing with accounts.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great. What about yourself, James, as more relatively new to it?
Yeah, so I've been such in a different position, I suppose, compared to the others. So I've been brought into this family business, 3 years ago now. It's been going 25 years. We did everything was carbon. Like one guy did all the accounts on Excel, absolutely horrendous. And as soon as that person left, I went, I can't deal with this. It took weeks to do the accounts to send off to the landlords. I went, I can't. I've got too much else to do with the whole business. So I think it was Rob, who's one of the reps, came in. I think it was 4 times. I went, Rob, I love the software. As soon as this person leaves, I'm coming straight to that. You're the first phone call. And I think the day that it happened, as soon as the person handed a notice in, onto the phone, Rob, I need you right now. And then from there, it just worked. And it's so simplistic. I can't recommend it enough. In fact, I've had a few phone calls from other agents local to us and gone, why are you not on this? Even though it's like dog eat dog. Like,
yeah. I was going to say, did you not feel like just saying, no, it's not, don't let me feel it. No, it's, you don't want your local competition to know, do you? So James, yours was born out of real frustration, and like you hear, I think I noticed everyone sort of have a wry smile there when you mentioned Excel. Here we are in this age of technology and everything else, and you go around just lettings businesses, some very big ones here, and still that. Let's be honest, that used to be the accounts package that really drove many agencies, didn't it? And so what you're saying is really, it was this fantastic new tool for you was born out of not only exactly out of vision, it was born out of pain, and said, I'm not doing that anymore.
It pretty much was. I don't know how the previous person did it. Hundreds of properties. There was no one had an arrears figure. They have it on each individual property, but now, obviously now with PayProp, you can see an arrears figure and go, no, let's bring that down. And I don't know how one person managed to do everything in the letting side, but it hinders us in the same way as we couldn't take on anymore. It had to stop there. That was the final thing. Like, it had to stop. So obviously now it's just progressed. It's so I can't get over how simplistic it is. Literally, to take on a new property, put an account on there, that's it. You're away, done, and it looks really professional. In fact, I've got a few landlords they've got a few properties up and down the country and gone, you're the first agent I've ever seen with this kind of technology. And we're only a family business. We're not a big corporation or anything. So they've said this is amazing, and because of that, they've brought on more properties around this area. So
what's really interesting about that, James, is we're here talking to you, obviously, as Neil's clients, as PayProp's clients. And of course, I'm always really keen to talk to the agents. What often I kind of forget, and sometimes even the suppliers forget, actually, what do your clients give you feedback? Because ultimately, you know, we can focus on what you enjoy about it, but ultimately, when you hear feedback like that from your actual clients, that's when you know you're onto a really good thing, isn't it?
Can I just, sorry, James, I just wanted to add on that. Exactly right. I mean, when I got it on board, I had one landlord that would thank me every month for the rent. They'd ring me up, or they'd reply to the email that come from PayProp and say, thank you for the rent, David. Excellent, very transparent. And they absolutely loved it. I just thought I'd throw that in there as well, because and also on that note, I got a multi-landlord. She's only got 3 properties with me locally, but she's got one in Cheshire. And I said, I don't cover that area. She said, I don't care. I want you to take it. And so I did, because she loves it all under one platform, you know. And the owner statement. So say, for example, she wants that owner statement done. She's got all 4 of her properties under one owner statement. The accountant loves PayProp. You know, I'll get the accountant say, can you give me, you know, the transactions for this period? And, you know, normally big estate agencies will charge 90 odd quid plus that for the pleasure. We can knock this out in about 10-15 minutes, if that, and get it sent over. And we're adding even more of it, which you can still charge a landlord for, because it's still an admin task. But what a service, you know.
Right, Neil, I said you were going to be a conscientious, or you're going to be watching it, obviously. What can I just ask though, when you hear that, how does that make you feel? Is that what I mean, clearly, you know, as you said, these are going to be people that are there, but is that what you people?
Yeah, this is a great birthday present for me. Yeah, you announced it my birthday. This is a great birthday present, to sit here and just be told how great. But, you know, somebody else actually mentioned this. I was speaking to somebody completely out of the industry who was just asking me and saying, you know, one of the reasons he'd reached out and was asking me to kind of come and do a bit of speaking was because of how passionate it was about the industry. And I said, it's not just passionate about the industry, but it's the way when I speak to my clients. When I previously dealt with software and things in our industry, all I was bothered about was the features, what it could actually do for me, what it was able to, and you referred back to the process. When we speak to our clients, they speak about what it's done for them, how it's changed things, what it's done for their business. And I think that's what keeps me going with wanting to drive this and grow PayProp more, is because when I speak to the clients, it's not, oh, that's a great new one where you can now tick that and you can do that button, or you can have that. The features, while it's great, and I love the way James says it's great how simplistic it is, because it's been made so it operates that way. But what everybody says is, it's given me the time back. Yeah. It's given me a chance to go and grow my business. It's taken me away from that back-end admin task. It's things that my landlords love. And I suppose it's that really keeps you going and driving, because, you know, there are some agents out there, as you say, Martin put it down, it's a trust. When you're handing somebody the keys to your bank, it's a trust. And at the moment, as agents, we are bombarded day in, day out with different prop tech, this and that. It's sometimes hard to know which ones to trust and which ones not.
If only there was a pink website that could help you.
It's almost like I teed you up there, Simon.
I think that is really interesting. And actually, as I said, if there's one thing, as they famously, life gurus tell us, you can't get back, it's time, isn't it? You know, that element, and that's what technology's for, isn't it? It simply doesn't. I was thinking there, I don't know whether Rian or Martine mentioned there about, you know, in terms of the accountant, you can get rid of an accountant or you can reduce, the amount they are. And on the face of it, that can sometimes sound quite brutal, doesn't it? But actually, on the face of it, there is simply no point in having a person doing what technology can do quicker and often more accurate anyway. And the key thing to remember is that, that enables you to turn them into more productive tasks anyway, or to grow your portfolio to a greater degree, without having to take on extra accounts resource. Neil, I'm famous for actually getting all of my stats completely wrong, but am I right in saying that you do a lot of statistical analysis on your clients and the rate that they grow their portfolios? Isn't it something like there was something staggering above 30%, wasn't it? Or have I added a few zeros in there?
25%.
Okay.
And actually, globally, it's 23%. The UK trend's a little bit higher. And we run this every year. And we're not talking portfolio numbers. We're actually talking money through people's bank accounts.
Okay.
And we actually look at what that works out as an average. We take out anybody who's had exorbitant increases, because that's typically portfolio purchases. And while that's a good rate of growth, that's not open to everybody to suddenly take on a whole new portfolio. In the same way we take small portfolio numbers out, it's great to see the newcomers coming in and the startups. And I'm sure David will be part of our figures now. But when he had his first 2 properties and he grew by 200% and took on 4 new properties, we don't want him throwing out the figures. So we take out those anomalies and look at our core market. And it's around 25%. And it's not down to us. That's what I try and tell my salespeople. We can't take the credit for that. It's not as if we suddenly take all the hard work away from our agents that go out there.
Claim it. You've got to claim it. If I was there, I'd be
I've been an agent myself, Simon. I can't claim it.
Okay.
It won't allow me. But what it does is we work so hard, but it sometimes feels like we're carrying around a bucket with a hole in it. Because as David said, we go through all the hard work and then something within the business or something outside of our control, things leak. What we typically find with PayProp is that we don't lose those landlords. They don't want to go anywhere else. They're satisfied, they're happy, they're getting paid. To be honest, we're providing such a good service as an estate agent. If we're doing it right, the only thing they can be upset with is then if they're not getting paid. And if we get that answered, well, now when I add new properties, I'm truly adding to my portfolio. Yeah. So that's where I think the growth comes from. It's not that yes, we give people time back, but I've got people who have used that increase in their golf swing. It doesn't always have to go on growth for the business. But I think it's just the effort that we get goes on proper growth. Automatically turns around what happens with a business when they're not just losing those residual, so fed up that I didn't get my money for a week, I'll go and look elsewhere. Where if that payment was coming through, there'd never be a reason for them to go and look elsewhere. And I think that's what helps with the businesses.
Excellent. Martine, I'm going to come to you. Just terms. Thank you all, by the way. In terms of the next question, though, if you remember when you were first looking at it, what do you feel was the main reason you wanted it? You wanted to join and get on board with PayProp. Do you remember? Was it a specific feature or what it was going to do for you? What was it?
It was just down to time, really. So we had accountants that were doing work for us. I was involved, being a director of the business. I had to log on to the HSBC to make individual payments every day. And this is literally going in, paying a PAYE and sending the payments. It was taking up too much time, far too time consuming. We've got over 1,000 properties, which is a hell of a lot of effort that has to go in there. Keeping on top of the arrears as well, making sure the arrears, the back office systems that you sometimes use will show you arrears in a different format, whereas PayProp will show you how much they're in arrears by, rather than these bits over months. It was mainly just a time essence, really, and something to help me out with. I was doing everything, so making the payments, bringing the landlords on, dealing with the back office, everything, and I wanted to be out there to bring more landlords into the business rather than doing something that shouldn't take up too much time.
But you were in full plate spinning mode. It sounds like they're doing all that.
Absolutely. Even now, though, nothing changed. You're still in everything, but I've just got more time. I can go home, put the kids in the bath, and then sit down in front of Emmerdale and make the landlord payments then. So it's absolutely fine. They'll still be paid. The landlords, as long as you click that button to make sure they're paid by 10 o'clock every day, it'll go. It's absolutely fine. The text messages as well. The receipts and things that the tenants get. So they'll get a text message to say your rent's due, and then they'll get a text message to say your rent's been paid. It's fantastic. It saves us all the phone calls. Landlords know exactly where they are. Yeah, it's a great system, but it was time saving.
Excellent. I think when you know you're onto a good thing, when you're a supplier sat here, is every time one of you is talking here, the rest of you are all doing the Churchill donkey. You're all nodding away in the background, sort of agreeing on it. Like, oh, you're looking back wistfully and saying, yeah, that's a fantastic one. Rhiannon, do you remember what it was specifically for you?
Yeah, exactly the same as Martine said. It's the time factor. There was two of us trying to handle the accounts, stressing us out, and you don't get time to work on bringing in new business, new clients, and dealing with all the other changing stuff. So yeah, definitely the time factor. And then once we were in using it, it was just an eye-opener going, oh, we should have done this years ago. The invoicing system that automatically, once it's set up, invoices the tenants for you.
Yeah.
And you can see from the dashboard when you haven't done something, or if you've got a tenancy that's expiring. So all the information's there for you all the time. I'm on it all day, every day. I don't need to be, but I like to see figures grow and figures get smaller and things change on it and money come in.
I think Neil, you need to get some sort of accreditation badges here, because this lot need certification to reinforce their skill set and love of the package. James, what about you when you saw it?
It was more automation, make sure it just time, like everyone else has said. I can't realise how much a week doing accounts has gone to. I think I worked it out. Probably I spend an hour. If I put my time to it, I probably spend an hour in a month doing accounts. Obviously, I get addicted, I think, like everyone else, and it's just you go. It's like Facebook. You just go on it all the time to see what happens, and it's good. It's a good addiction to have, because you see everything. And you see everything live as well. Nothing's hidden from you.
So it's purely about a dopamine hit that you get these days from logging in and seeing all this go through. That's great. Okay, David, what about yourself?
It's funny, like listening to the guy say that, because I thought I was a bit weird until today, and now I realise that we're all the same. Because I got, when you click your Chrome or whatever you're using, and then it loads up your pages, and I've got the 3 used pages, and my first one's the software, second one is PayProp, and the third one is our referencing. So it's there all the time. So it's straight away. It's the first job of the day. And for me, I was going on my lettings journey alone. I was setting up a company on my own, no funding. I took out a loan to do it, and I needed something that was going to be effective and set me apart from everyone else and allowed me to grow. And that just provided the platform easily. It's a no-brainer.
Well, what we'll do, David, is we'll have these PayProp supporters group meetings every month, and you can come here and just talk about it. Say, am I strange? Am I weird? No.
Weird. Yeah, PB Anonymous. Yeah.
Any surprises there, or is that what you want to hear?
No, that is it, and it is the time. People do then like it. I like Rhiannon mentioning the invoicing, because I would say that's probably one of the things that we sell a lot on. I'm not sure that's what everybody then buys, but that is what people like, and it becomes a way of actually seeing what the system does. But I love it, because exactly like you are, I'm the same. So I get to see what's been added, what my guys are doing. So from a back office overview, what all of you, and I'm the same addicted. I have it there and I want to see, how's it going? How much has it increased? What has it gone? And I remember that when I joined, so I joined when it was just before it was relaunched. It was then we had the launch in October 2015. And at that point on the platform, we had £45,000 worth of rent going through. It had done a test. We got 2 small clients and they were running it. And you guys going and using it now, the amount of access and logons and using and the audit log within the system, it's so robust, but it's being put through its paces now, because I'm getting to see how much people love going on and looking at it. And what we thought people might go in, so we released a feature whereby if you've not logged in and you go in and do your payments in the morning, then in the afternoon, it can send you an email to let you know that payments have arrived, since you've last logged in. That email gets sent less and less because before we can email, they're already back in checking to see if any more money's coming. As you say, it's like that Facebook. Okay, let me just have another quick look. See if
So you've actually made a bit of useful functionality redundant just because of that, yeah? Yeah, go on, Rhiannon.
I think, Neil, I'd say it times out too quickly for me because by the time I flick back, I've got to log back in again. I want to see what's changed every 5-10 minutes. It's my page.
Well, that's a claim and a half, more than Facebook. They're going to start spending, what is it they send in Apple, those stats about how long you spend on the platform.
Yeah, the stats
I'll tell you what, maybe on the next one, what we're going to do is get your partners in and get them to say, bloody hell, they're always on PayProp. What a see what
PayProp user partners.
There's some sort of Valentine's Day campaign that I haven't sorted in my head yet, but anyway, okay. Thanks for that, guys. I've seen, I was going to say millions, but that's me over exaggerating again. I've seen lots of suppliers and lots of very good technical products out there that actually have fallen at if you like, the final hurdle, because actually they might be good, they might be functional, but actually you've got to still know how to use them and get set up in the right way. And clearly many of you will have migrated your accounts and you've all had to migrate essentially at some stage over. That, in my simplistic head, I can't even begin to think about that. What was the onboarding like then to actually get you to this very, very clearly happy place you're at the moment? Was it very good? Was the hand-holding good? And I suppose, how long did it take you to get up to speed? Can we start with you, David?
Yeah, sure. Really easy because I had one property to go on, so it was quite seamless. And I had Donna, who was there, and she held my hand through the whole thing. I'm like, Donna, I don't know what I'm doing here. And she wouldn't just do it for me. She'd teach me how to do it. And I love that. She'd be like, right, if you do this, you do that. So she can see it, but she's making me do the work. So I'm learning. So within the space of a couple of weeks, I was like a pro on it. And I was like, bang, 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 job done, setting them up. And I was like, right, I can't wait to set up another property and, put all the details and all that. So the onboarding was very, very easy. And even Martin, who sold the product to me originally, checked in, said, hey, getting on with it? You okay? Any questions, stuff like that. That was really good. And then, we'll talk about the aftercare after, but they're just always there for you. Always there.
That's good to hear. Good to hear. James, what about yourself?
It was, to be fair, it was really easy. All to do, they sent a few spreadsheets over, put all the data onto there, send it off to the team. I think the day we went live, obviously, like beforehand, I have to do a little background story. We'd never really chased the rates as probably thorough as we should. So the day it went live, all these texts went out to all the other tenants, and they didn't realise they were in arrears of 50 quid or whatever. And all of a sudden, they started paying it off. So it was brilliant. It was funny if you look back at it. The phone lines blew up. Like, what's this? What's happening? Because I didn't put the initial letter. I didn't get everyone out, even though we could have. I thought let's keep it back of house, make sure nothing goes off. But then we just said, no, let's go with it. Went with it, and the phone lines blew up. So apart from that, it was perfect. It did exactly what it should have done. Dead simple as well.
Good stuff, Martin. Does that sound familiar to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've done 2 onboarding processes, really. There's a company that we had, and then we merged with another company as well. So we've done 2 lots of it through different systems. One was Expert Agent, one was Dupex. Managed to migrate the properties over to PayProp fairly easily. They helped with the mail merge letters to go to our tenants and landlords as well. So the tenants knew exactly what they needed to do. Obviously, you'd get some stragglers there that are still paying the old accounts, but it's just a matter of paying from the old accounts into the new account and make sure it's all dealt with from one place rather than having to use the 2 systems. But yeah, the support and everything was fantastic. Like James said, it's entering information into spreadsheets, checking it over, make sure it's all okay. But yeah, didn't really have any problems at all.
That's really interesting. So knowing those systems like Expert Agents and Dupix, then did any of your clients notice the difference between the service that was being provided when you were doing it in those systems, or to a large degree did they just not notice anything?
Yeah, they all noticed, mainly because the spreadsheet for the statement format was a little bit different, but they liked it. The text message to say that the funds have been released to you, they've gone into your bank account. They never had that through Dupix or Expert Agent. They would get a statement that we would send through to them, but not as detailed as what PayProp would be. It's an easier system to use. So like somebody was saying earlier on, if they wanted a statement, it's just a click of a button. You just reconcile select your dates and send a statement over to them. Yeah, it's great. It was all positive.
My understanding of as well, one of the big benefits of PayProp is that reconciliation, you know, keeping everything reconciled and in order, because let's be honest, with a lot of the CRM systems, they don't go to that level of accuracy, do they? Was that something that you saw as demonstrable benefit?
Yeah, definitely. I would say one of the biggest pains is getting the tenants to use the correct ANC number, which is your reference number. But if they've not put that there, it can easily be found. And what that PayProp will do as well is, if once you've allocated it once, it will recognise it the next month. So it's easier for us to allocate. But the main thing is getting your tenants to put the reference number there.
Yeah, Neil, if you haven't labelled that artificial intelligence, you need to get all over that. I'd be claiming that as machine learning or something like that. Oh, it is machine learning, isn't it? Rhiannon, what about yourself? Again, echoing the guys here.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with the onboarding was we were scared to say yes when it's, you know, when all the data was uploaded. It was just picking that live time, because we had money coming in all through the month. So we probably could have got on a bit quicker, but I think we delayed it more than anything else. But the hand-holding from the team was fantastic. No problems whatsoever.
David mentioned there before, you know, talking about obviously that's getting you up, and that's the vital part of it. Some companies in the industry that shall remain nameless do a good job of disappearing them off into the sunset and never being heard again. What's the experience post go live, David, in terms of you know, the interaction with PayProp now that you're up and live?
Really good, and now they're probably the best company that I use for support, you know, because it is a case of you ring up and then you've got your options, and then you can create a support number. They can log on, see a screen, or if it's not urgent, they can always call you back with the ticket ID, and it's just seamless. They all know what to do. So it's like, I'm having this real trouble trying to get that to go from that account. So say, for example, you're dealing with benefit tenants, and then benefits are paid sporadically, as we know, and tenants will do their top up. So what we create is a property account. So when the money comes into the account, sits in that property account, and then a specific day of the month, it then releases to the landlord. Your fee goes out, job done. So there's little bits and pieces like contractor commissions as well, you know, put a little side note just to make sure, because what a lot of landlords don't understand is, if you're putting money through your banking, your business banking, your platform, that comes with a charge, and they don't get that. So when they say, oh, why would you charge me that % for getting work done? Isn't that part of your management? Well, yes, it is. But to a certain degree, if we're getting charged per transaction and you want everything on one account for accounting purposes, we've then got to educate that landlord. And I do that. And I say to my landlords, there's pretty much a 10% markup on maintenance, because we've got to allow that cost for our business, and they're fine, because they're like, well, I'm getting my statements brilliantly, they're easy to understand, my accountants love it, so no brainer for me. You're on the ball, you get it done, I'm 100% happy with the service, and then you find you've got a 5-star Google review, you know, or a Kerfuffle review.
Nice. Well done, David. That's it. He's tuned in. James, the ongoing side of things, the ongoing side of support.
Again, saying what David said, it's I've never faulted them yet, and I can't fault them. Every time I ask for something, not that I ask for less and less now as it goes, but it's they've never said, oh, I don't know what to do. They've always helped me there and then. It's been perfect.
Excellent. Martine?
Onboard him?
Yeah, so not on the onboarding, this is more on the support side, the account management.
Oh, absolutely. Support still absolutely. Sorry, my internet broke up a little bit there. Support's fantastic. I've got one main point of contact that I tend to go to each time. I won't name any names just in case anybody else tries to pinch her. But I mean, there's everybody throughout PayProp that will help me, but one particular person, I'll email her if there's an issue, and I'm getting emails back at ridiculous time at night, and I know that she shouldn't be doing that, but clearly she loves PayProp as much as everybody else does here. But yeah, it's fantastic. Anything that you need, you just ring, you get the help that you need. Half the time we know it ourselves because it is such a simple system to use.
Yeah.
But we're only human. We'll all question ourselves, won't we? So we'll ring
It's not
PayProp.
Cara, is it? Is it Cara?
No. But I might try Cara if I can't get hold of this one.
See, that's when you're throwing out different names, that's a really good thing, isn't it? Also, what that shows to me is there's a great company culture there, because if you've got that kind of thing, it's not a 9 to 5 where people just drop the ball. They're genuinely, they're doing it off their own back, aren't they? So that's really, really impressive. Rhiannon, what about yourself? Yeah,
Yeah, the support, 9 times out of 10 I get through to Matt. He probably hates it when I call through, but he's always helpful. He answers all questions. If he doesn't know it, he goes and finds out, gets back to you the same day. And then on a quarterly basis, he rings in for sort of an account overview, takes us through some of the reports and stuff that you don't necessarily look at on a daily basis. And he's like, oh, what's this? And then, I didn't know what to do with that. Yeah, let's fix that. So, because they're coming to you, you're looking at the system and learning all the time. But if there's ever a problem, there's never any wait. You send an email or make a call and someone answers the phone, and it's usually the same person you get
right.
to help you out.
I was just having a look down there. I think that James is having a sneaky peek at PayProp there. I can see him. Look at him. He's I could notice his eyes were going around. He couldn't even give up for the whole time of the webinar. Oh, that's really good to hear, Ian. Thanks you, Neil. You wouldn't take, unlike me, all the glory for these guys' businesses improving, but you must be quite pleased, because if you can't take the blame for your staff, obviously, in terms of that onboarding experience, the support side of things, then who can? Again, what I suppose just asking you, this is absolutely what you want to be hearing, isn't it?
It is, and it's part of the culture that we don't ever want to lose at PayProp. You're absolutely right. I could throw lots of names out there, and I love the fact of David trying to throw on, and Martine remaining protective, and Rhiannon's got her own contact. But they are all there, and one of the things that we love and recognise about our support team is they take an honest interest in wanting to solve the situation for our agent. They're not just there to take a call and to go through the motions. They actually take an active interest. And that's really difficult to find. And so we've gone through, and we've got a really good culture. But we did it from the start. As you know, because I've been with you there, and we had the virtual version of it here for the Esters. It has always been important that you can sell a system. A good salesperson should be able to sell it. What we actually want to do is no smoke and mirrors here. Sell what is a really good platform that can deliver, but then also provide that aftercare support. Because, and you say remain nameless, but in tech, we can be sometimes accused of being vacant once the sale's been done. Almost, well, why can't you understand how to use the platform? We've developed it. Surely you know how to use it. But that's not always the case. And even if you're day in, day out, what we find is sometimes I could have done this 100 times. But I just want somebody to tell me that this time it's just going to do what I want it to do, because I'm actually dealing with somebody's money. And if I make a mistake, that's a reputational risk for the business. So the ability to pick up the phone and somebody be there, and even if all I want is that affirmation, that they're actually interested in giving me that affirmation and understanding and realizing, even if I've asked it 20 times, don't worry, ask it again. Yeah. And it's taken a long time to get that culture, and it's something I really hope that we never ever lose, because it's a vital part of the business.
What's the size of the team there, Neil, in terms of sort of the account management support and all?
So within our client services at the moment, we're about 12 people, head by 2 managers and then an overall client services manager, who actually, for a sins and put out Joe, who is now our chief operating officer, so has replaced what I used to do. She actually started out as a salesperson. Okay. And had that passion for the product, and then has actually gone up on that full journey. So she's been there and sat in front and done the sales. She's actually sat with our agents and processed and dealt with the paper. She's taken all of that raw data from most of the systems, and will still want to make sure that every agent, no matter the size, gets that same experience coming through PayProp. And I think that's the culture that she brings to that team, that people then, yeah, it is fine. It's great that you got a system and it gives back the time. But if when there was a problem we weren't around, it'd soon get tired very quickly. And it's the fact that whenever there's a question to be asked, we're there to answer it.
Yeah, I think what you say there about the culture, again, just to reiterate it, is it does mean, you know, if you've got it in your mindset of the staff that they're there to help and they want to help and solve it, it makes all the difference. Again, this company shall remain absolutely nameless, but I was being shown around and we were having a look at their support system, and I kept seeing this PITA kept coming up and I thought, I love a good techie acronym. So I said, what's that? And he said, that's for saying that the person's a pain in the arse. Like, wow. Look, client. But what I thought was pervasive about that was it was very much that, oh, well, you know, the clients are all dickheads. And if you're not on top of that, that can become the company culture in a really negative fashion, can't it? Anyway, I was talking about Kerfuffle there, but anyway, well, right, finally,
we can sometimes be guilty of that within our industry as well.
Yeah.
You know, tenants pay our wages. Tenants pay our money. They might not be the direct person, but we need them in the process. And I remember when I was running an agent and I had a business partner, no relation to David, but he was another David. And he actually said, we're a bad marriage. We're the marriage counselor between two people who don't want to be a couple, when he was referring the tenant and the landlord. But the marriage counsellor doesn't sit bad-mouthing both parties. What they actually do is they speak respectfully to both parties. And as an agent, that's what we've got to do. And as a prop tech supplier to that agency, that's how I always wanted to treat our agents. So having that same, no matter what it is, it doesn't matter how big or how small, our mortgages are getting paid because of that relationship. So respect them accordingly, because whatever question they've got, that's vital that we answer that so we keep that culture going.
Yeah, I think it's a great analogy. You know, it's really, really good. Okay, I'm going to kind of wind up with this last question now. Martine, I'm going to ask you, if you were to talk to other agents looking at PayProp, what would you say? And by all means, you don't have to take James's very magnanimous approach where we'll talk to competitors. If you don't want to have it, you say.
Depends how much I like them. No, I'd just tell them to do it. It's like I say, it's a fantastic product. It saves us so much time. I wouldn't want all the letting agents using it, especially the ones that are so close to us and our competitors. But it is a good system, and the landlords like it, the tenants like it. It makes our life a lot easier. And like I say, I only wish that I'd joined PayProp a lot sooner than we did. It was like everybody says, you're a bit worried, and then it's a cost aspect of everything, and you're thinking, oh God, it's not worth it. But it saves us so much time. So people that wanted any input on PayProp, and yeah, I'd be honest with them.
And you really get what you pay for, ultimately, isn't it? That's one of the old maxims that's true in this life. And one thing I've just asked you further on that, just as an add-on, what would you have done differently? Is there anything you'd have done differently apart from getting it sooner that would have improved kind of maybe the speed you got on with it or anything like that?
I don't think we would. I mean, we again, like Rihanna had, she's got different tenants that pay different times throughout the month. We have as well. So we just picked the closest first of the month and just went with that. And that was on both onboarding processes that we did as well. I think the second time round, because I'd done it once, it was a lot easier second time round. We got everybody on board as quickly as we could. But yeah, our only delay was not taking it soon enough.
Okay, brilliant. Rhiannon, what about yourself? What would you say to any other agents deliberating?
Yeah, I'm on all the Facebook groups with agents, especially the one that are struggling to find client accounts at the minute. The only answer in that comment is PayProp. Just bite the bullet and get on with it. A lot of people say about the cost. We've absorbed the cost. We haven't really noticed it, but we've noticed how much it benefits the company and our bottom line. So yeah,
fantastic.
Always recommend it. I need to be on commission, Neil, I think.
You need, Neil, if you haven't got it yet, your marketing people need to have like a PayProp emoji, it sounds like, so you can show it around and post that into the groups to stamp themselves wherever they go. James, what about yourself? You've already said how you're doing a lot of good work there for Neil. He needs to get you on a sales commission. So
yeah, he should actually. To be fair, I was speaking to an agent last night about it, and he was umming and ahhing about PayProp, and I just turned around to him, "How much is your time worth?" He was telling me about what he does for the account. When I've got so much more time now to do what I want, to do what I need to do to grow a business. Can you put that into money terms? And he just changes. So he's probably another client for you. Soon coming on. But no, I just think it's crazy how simple it is and how easy and how much you can grow from it.
I like that. Crazy how simple it is. That's a brilliant slogan. Yeah. Cheers, James. David, are you like me when you become so convinced of something, you actually get quite dismissive in situations like this, and you don't actually bother justifying it. You said, "Oh look, just do it. Just get on with it. It's going to be the best decision you make."
Yeah, exactly. And Neil knows me fairly well, and I'm very honest and upfront, and integrity is a big thing. But I'm also very to the point, and pardon my French, I don't like any bull. So it's basically a case of if I'm having a conversation with an agent and they're saying, "Oh yeah, but it's expensive." I say, "Okay, well, when you go and meet a landlord and they say your fee's expensive, how do you react to that?" They say, "Well, Mr. Landlord, we're giving you this and we give you value for money." I said, just shut up. Just shut up. You've answered the question there, right? It's value for money. So, and James hit the nail on the head. How much is your time worth? And I speak to a lot of agents about it. I'll sometimes get a call and like, "David, yeah, I've seen you on the PayProp website. You've done a little video and you're obviously an advocate and you're happy with it." And then he starts these questions and I give them the answers and then they ask other bits. And then it's almost like they answer their own question. They said, "You know what, at the moment I'm using this software and it does this, it does that, but it doesn't do that." "No, it doesn't, but it does it." "Yeah, but it doesn't do that." That's what I'm trying to say to you. I said, "Look, if you want my free advice, bearing in mind I've got a business to run, I'm happy to give you advice, but my advice is only as good as if you take it, And I just get frank with people. Just don't be a muppet. Just go with it. Make the decision. "Oh, but it's onboarding's nothing." And like James and the girl said, you fill out a spreadsheet, you send it over if you've got multiple properties, you put the details in, and exactly like James said, it will sweep up those arrears straight away. Because people that didn't realise the system's so automated. And I just think, a lot of people say, "Well, we have an accounts and admin person that does all that." Okay, well, tell you what, save yourself an annual salary, right? Get that accounts person to be front of office to generate more business or work on, maybe a bit of social media content, and then use that vacancy and fill it with PayProp. And then, if PayProp won't make a mistake, because PayProp's only as bad as the person that's using it. So if you use it correctly, you put the correct fees in, the correct bits and pieces, it will work. Funnily enough, it's literally a faultless bit of kit. I mean, I've made mistakes because it's me being a numpty, not because PayProp doesn't work. And then you learn from it, and it's a no-brainer for me. Any agent that says, "Oh no, it's too expensive," I say, well, for me, I looked at the cost and I thought, okay, well, I'm going to get value for money. And I've grown. I'm one person and I do the work. I've been doing the work of 4 people for the last 2 years. Now I'm in a position where we've got a good income coming in. PayProp covers all that back end stuff. I've got a property manager that knows how to use it now. I've now employed a neg front end because we're doing so much business. We're actually turning people away now because we're in that position. And that's not being big-headed, because we're very particular. If the property isn't to a certain standard, I don't want to know. If the landlord isn't coming around to our way of thinking, I don't want to know, because at the end of the day, the law is the law. It's very black and white, and we want to take people on a journey. We're not a typical salesman where we just want to, for example, get your house sold or whatever, or get it let and then move on. Or we used to call our let only landlords let and forget, because it's like if a landlord rings up and says, "Do you offer let only service?" I say we do. We highly recommend the managed service, because it is let and forget. Because if you want to use my service and ring me up for advice after that, I'm not going to give it to you, because it defeats the object of the managed package. So yeah, I'm like you, Simon. I just say it how it is. If they don't want it, then it's their loss. And then those types of people often sit back and play the victim and go, God, COVID is really, not doing well for our business. And it's horrible for me to say, but November, this month, I'm having a record-breaking month. And it sounds awful because there's people out there that don't have jobs. Admittedly, last night we worked till 9:30 to catch up with admin, but where there's a demand in the private rented sector, the demand for housing from a tenant's perspective is absolutely through the roof at the moment. So we need to be there to service those landlords and those tenants. So we are thriving as a business because we're doing things properly. I'm conscious you're going to wave your stick at me in a minute.
No, I sort of been there hours ago, but no, actually, to be honest, I sensed you were going to go down that line. I was going to do the old testified kind of thing here. One of the most important things you mentioned there is, as well, isn't it? Obviously, when you start up, you're like everyone, you're desperate for business. But one of the most valuable lessons you learn as you go through life is actually it's as important not to take on the wrong client, isn't it? Move, whether they're in a personal setting or in a business settings, they will take in the best way that Pareto 80-20 works for you in terms of beneficially. It can also work against you, can't you? Where all your time is taken up by the same people. And so I absolutely can see where you're coming from on this, and I think it's really interesting to hear it. Thank you, guys. Neil, final thought from you, really, in terms of that.
And I say this and nothing against. With any agent, have a look at it. We're the same. We don't want somebody to take on our platform if it's not right for them. We find that the majority of agents, 95% that we show to it is the right solution. But there are people out there where we are not going to be right for them, for their business all the time. PayProp's non-committal, non-contract. If it's not right for you, we don't want to take you as a business either. We want people to come on board who have this experience. And again, you can look at all of our videos and there'll always be people who you can speak to. Please go onto these forums. You might bump into Rhiannon anyway. Sounds like she's there ready to shout out about PayProp, but speak and get a true view, because I remember something that you did at one of your things about Kerfuffle, that even a bad company could find 3 or 4 customers that be willing to say you're great. The thing about it with PayProp is you can speak to all of our customers. We probably wouldn't want you to work your way through all hundreds and hundreds of agents. But if you were, our agents stay with us because they're not tied in. It's not contractual. They can leave. They stay because it does what it says it's going to do. And for any agent, look at it, because if there's a chance for us to grow your business, if there's a chance for us to give you that time back, I'd hate for you to miss it out just through having a look at a platform. It's nothing other than a bit of your time, which we know is finite, but we will try and keep it to a minimum. But if it's sat there waiting for you to take that time back, to take that admin burden back, to take that service to your landlords, have a look.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And as you've heard me say that story probably endlessly because I do repeat myself. But genuinely, even the worst companies can muster up 2 or 3 reviews. And the problem from our point of view is once you've spoken to 2 or 3 people, it's not like you can realistically speak to 10 people unless you're, a nutcase or anything else there. So you think, okay, I've done my due diligence. And actually, that's why it can lead to so many bad supplier experiences. Now, I'm really pleased to say, of course, is you've got loads and loads of reviews on the webpage, all 5-star, all brings quite a lot of named people like the teams here who testify to that. And so, look, if you haven't heard enough, I'll be amazed if you haven't heard from these fantastic 4 here. But having that backed up as well by the other testimonials is a really key element there. So I think that's really, really good. The other thing is I'll say, which you probably wouldn't because you don't do the hard sell, Neil, but I'm shameless. I'm a shameless horse, so I'll do it. Is there is a fantastic deal on there for anyone who's looking to do there. I think up until Christmas, avoiding the setup fee, which you made the point that obviously Kerfuffle were lucky enough to to twist your arm to get a good deal like that. So there's never been a better time to get on board with PayProp. And of course, as we get into the end of the year, you're thinking about strategy for 2021 and making it better. Then let's hope we all want 2020 to be. Encourage you to talk to Neil directly. Go via the lovely big pink contact me button on their landing page, or find Rhiannon on the Facebook groups, and she'll point you in the right direction. Guys, really enjoyed it. Bang on the hour. Can't thank you enough. James, David, Neil, Rhiannon, and Martin. Thank you very much,
guys.
And have a fantastic birthday. Not going out anywhere. Cheers, guys.
See you later.